I don't feel like an intro today, so let's start with the reticle color in your settings menu. I suggest changing it to red and trying that out. The red is much more prominent and I have an easier time spotting my crosshair when I'm hip firing. I also like to have my hit markers turned on. Complete preference, I've just always enjoyed hit markers in video games. Your field of view will allow you to either see more around you or focus more on what's in front of you with a zoom in effect. For games with bots, you just have to go to Preferences and change it to Private Campaign Lobby. Bots are great for giving you ammo the second you're low, and they aggro zombies pretty effectively too, although they can be in the way sometimes. Make sure your hold to sprint is off and your ADS snapping is on. ADS snapping allows you to auto-aim just by looking in the general direction. This effect is further boosted by accuracy cards. So when you see a group of zombies, if you just snap your aim on and off, you'll instantly turn into John Wick. Furthermore, if you have ADS speed cards in your build. Speaking of cards, the card system in this game seems overly complicated and not very user-friendly. Well, until I understood it. Now it's addicting and I love it. What you need to know is that your card deck is your build. What I suggest you do is run a mission in a later part of an act so you can select a decent amount of cards and see if you like your build or not. If you don't, go back and exchange some until you're happy with the playstyle. Just remember that you have to select a new mission every time, because if you continue, it'll use the same deck you were using before. Once you're done that, you're going to need to focus on the first 5 and the order they go in. The order is so important because that is the order in which you can select them when you're starting at the beginning of an act. So these first very few options are all you're going to have until you get to the later missions and start layering more cards. So a great example of some of the top picks would be the knife, because when you're holding or carrying something, you can still defend yourself with it. And it's faster to stab with that than switch to your secondary and then swing. And you really don't get many cards at the beginning of the game, so having that knife can be really handy, depending on, of course, your character. And the next 2 cards will be the basis for your entire build and need to complement each other. A great example is something that increases my speed a lot, and the next card increases my stamina, as I'm going to be out of stamina because I'm running faster now with that last card. The next 2 are almost equally as important because the acts get much tougher the further you go, and I find you'll be relying heavily on the build that you've made to get through the more difficult parts of the act. My final advice for the cards is to grind. Seriously, you will need to get some incredible cards that will easily replace your top 3 picks and drastically change how you play. You can make a build for just about anything you can think of. So for the fun of it, I suggest throwing together a speedy build or something that's focused on one thing. Run that and grind away until you get enough cards that you can really start experimenting and making different builds. Sometimes you'll find a card in the supply line that will make you instantly make an entire deck built around it. So don't get too attached to your decks too early on, because there are far more efficient cards that you can get much later. I would honestly just make some fun builds and grind away until you really want to make an ultimate build. Then go into the later missions like I mentioned, experiment with it until you find something that fits, then make sure your order is correct by playing the act from the beginning. Once you understand the card system, this game has an incredible replay value. Not only with your builds, but the effects in the game. They affect everything from lighting to enemy types. I've heard a few people say, yeah, I beat it. It was okay. Back 4 Blood is not that kind of game, guys. For those who haven't played Left 4 Dead, it was the same in that game. Maps have rooms that are closed sometimes and open other times. Loot spawns in different places with different items. And now with the card system, every mission can be different. Well, that's it for now, but in the future, I'm going to go over veteran strategies, formations, and build suggestions. So consider subscribing because it's free and you can always unsubscribe when you feel like it. So that's it for now. See you later.